Good morning. Today we're celebrating the solemnity of the most sacred heart of Jesus. It's a holy celebration of this fact that God has a beating heart, and it's a devotion that's about going into the 350 years old to consider this fact. Pope Benedict back in 2008. So the thing about the Sacred Heart of Jesus, like growing up, I feel like every image of Jesus had this heart on it. And I just thought that's what, that must have just been how that Jesus was painted. I didn't realize this was a devotional image of the Sacred Heart of Jesus, because I grew up in the 80s. But that image of Jesus with his heart exposed is one that is an image of the Sacred Heart. And it's, we look at that heart, it's a symbol of all the love that he has for us. This willingness to be pierced for us, this willingness to die for us, this passion for our destiny. But Pope Benedict, back in 2008, said, the devotion to the Sacred Heart is the center of the faith. So we've heard, it's like a lot of things are the center. You can say a lot of things are the center of the faith. Like we would say, for instance, the Eucharist is the source and summit of the faith. So why is the Sacred Heart the center of our faith? And he goes on to say, that the heart of Christ expresses in a simple and authentic way the glad tidings of love, summarizing the mystery of the incarnation and the redemption in itself. God desired to enter into the limits of history and the human condition. He took on a body and a heart. Thus we can contemplate and meet the infinite in the finite. So basically what he's saying is, it's all there. In his heart is his incarnation and his redemption. So how are we? Are we devoted? Do we consider the Sacred Heart? There's this classic Catholic prayer. Jesus, meek and humble of heart, make my heart like unto thine. I would argue, looking at my own heart, it can be haughty. It can hold on to things that it shouldn't, that aren't good for me to hold on to. It can be extremely selfish. It can be proud, my heart. And I think that in order for me to be who I'm meant to be as a baptized, confirmed, and now a priest, I need to be asking for that grace. Because ultimately it's a grace, right? It's not, I can't make my heart better. And that heart, I'm obviously not talking about the literal heart I have in my chest, but this center of me, this real source of my identity and desire that we call the heart. This expression of my I, it gets complicated. But Jesus wasn't, his heart, unlike mine, wasn't complicated. It was clear in what it was about. And it was about love of the Father and love of us. And we can pray for this grace of a transformed heart. St. Margaret Mary, famously, the image anyway, I'm not even going to say what it sometimes reminds me of because I don't want to mess with, I don't want to, but like there's a movie analogy that doesn't quite work out, in other words. So Jesus sort of reaches into her chest, takes her heart, purifies it in the fire of his love. You can imagine like gold purified in a furnace, like a refining fire, and then gives it back. So there's this transformation. We hear in Ezekiel, I will give you a new heart. I will place a new spirit within you, take away your stony hearts and give you natural hearts. And it's like for the same Margaret Mary, did this. And I need this for me. And I would suggest maybe we all need to ask for this more. Again, it's a grace that the Lord desires to give us. And how do we get it? We can consistently pray, and for some of you, you may have mystical experiences of the Lord doing that to your heart. But I would suggest that the most principal ways we do this are through the sacraments. We go into the penance, sacrament of the penance, and we go in there with our mess, and he takes it away. And he takes away all of this accumulated stuff and gives us a refresh of our heart. And then every time we receive the Eucharist, we receive his heart. We receive him, body, blood, soul, and divinity, but part of that is his heart. And one of the remarkable facts of Eucharistic miracles, I'm sure many of you are familiar with them, but the one in Lanciano, I think, the better part of, I forget the date, but it's in the Middle Ages. There's a host that bleeds. And in 1970, Pope Paul VI had it looked at, and some of you are familiar with this fact, looked at it scientifically under, and they noted that tissue, that host became human tissue, and that it's always Jesus' body, blood, soul, and divinity, but sometimes these Eucharistic miracles are these moments where he sort of proves it, he shows it. And this tissue was human heart tissue, the wall of the heart tissue. So it's in the Eucharist, for the better part of 2,000 years, we're receiving the Eucharist. And there were these miracles over the years, and we kept them. And to discover it's his heart that he gives us. So as we receive the Eucharist today, sorry for the lengthy reflection here. So we receive the Eucharist today as we hopefully are on this solemnity, requesting a renewal of our hearts. Let's pray especially after we've received communion, to really allow our heart to beat in sync with his heart that comes into us in the Eucharist, so near our actual heart, that we might allow his way of seeing, his way of loving, his way of being to overcome our resistance, so that we might be a sign of him in the world. O Jesus, meek and humble of heart, make my heart like unto thine.